Ladies and gentlemen of the beautiful crypto world, we've only got ourselves a few hours before something really important is going to happen. As I outlined yesterday, today we've got ourselves the FOMC meeting, and in this video I'll tell you exactly what to prepare for, because the general trend when it comes to crypto has been extremely bullish, but when taking a look at the prices, some people might not really notice that too much. I mean, XRP is up like 6% today, so some coins are looking pretty nice, and it's making my portfolio look really quite juicy. Then again, with Bitcoin getting rejected at $70,000, right now finding its footing at 66, but generally just not really breaking out anywhere. I understand that it's harder and harder to see some crazy exponential spike happening, but again, the FOMC meeting, I should say, is in about 7 hours or so, maybe 6 hours by the time I get to release this video, but I digress. Something that's going on. Mt. Gox just moved again, right? An additional time, 47.2 thousand Bitcoin, roughly $3.1 billion, to 3 unknown wallets yet again over the past few hours. They've actually moved 61,000 Bitcoin to Bitstamp, Kraken, Bitbank since July 5th. And I think it's quite interesting just how many people seem to be holding this Bitcoin and how the consensus about whether or not this is catastrophical has now changed to no. For the most part, we expect people to keep holding on to their Bitcoin that they get from Mt. Gox, and that overall, since we always knew this was going to happen, that it's kind of a relief to get it over with now, pretty early, as I just showed you with this picture right here, pretty early into the cycle. Because again, this is basically the monthly chart that showcases just how crazy Bitcoin goes after roughly, I'm going to say, a year and a half, something like that, of just maybe 2 years of kind of sideways and up before all of a sudden a year of crazy upwards momentum starts. We established it before that with our 50-70-70 theory, which is it's about 3 years of bull market, 1 year of bear market, 50 weeks of downwards, maybe 50, 60 weeks, then 70 weeks of accumulation, which is up ever so slightly, and then 70 weeks roughly of just crazy raging bull market, of which about 30 weeks, so let's say half, is the altcoin season that everybody loves and where most money is made, and where a lot of these dreams show up, where people just turn $1 into 1,000, which, by the way, it's pretty crazy, all right? I know I've shown you stories before of $1 into 18,000, yada, yada, yada. But I still think it's kind of wild that some people have $1 in a dream and are able to turn it into hundreds. Because if he just put in $1,000, that meant he had 900,000. The opposite side of that story is that many people think, oh, it's meme coins, so you make crazy amount of money fast, you have it all. No, there's liquidity issues, for example, but also the fact that what you've got today, you might not have tomorrow, and you might get depressed over it. But that's, again, when money comes fast, you can sometimes lose it fast, too. What is not fast is the Ethereum ETFs. I mean, we're seeing inflows for the first day just yesterday. Some slight inflows at 33.7 million. That's for the most part because the outflows have decreased significantly. And there was actually also a significant new inflow over on the left here that can be seen. So again, the first day of a net positive for the Ethereum ETFs. So it took a little while, but we are now there. Perhaps Jim Cramer said that he was all of a sudden really bearish on Ethereum, so all these institutions and guys decided to buy it. If you do not know, Jim Cramer is a very well-known TV host for a trading show, and whenever he says something nice, you definitely want to get out of there. And if he's positive or negative, I mean, yeah, we're bullish on it. Which brings me to a point of, man, people think that news decides price. It's not always the case. I mean, for example, there was a new headline. California DMV, worst entity in the world, digitizes the 42 million car titles on the AVAX chain. What did the price do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing is what the price did. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. The price didn't go anywhere. Here's the timestamp, and hours later, nothing moved. 0% movement. It's also priced into our quite bearish Bitcoin price right now, relatively. MINA revenues. MINA revenues have bottomed after the April 2024 halving. I expect Bitcoin price to double from today in 3 to 5 months. I still think many people don't realize just how accurate long-term models for Bitcoin are, in the sense that we all understand if you just look at it over a multi-year period, it'll go up just like the stock market, just like other things, because of scarcity, but also because of the logical progression. Right now, from Bitcoin miner revenue, we've got a low, but potentially it's also part of the bigger plan. Theoretically speaking, the lower mining revenue would get, the more you'd crush the Bitcoin ecosystem. But these guys that are actually mining also understand the trend. The trend is their friend, and they're sticking through with it because they know this will flip over soon enough. If we take a look at Plan B, he basically said 2024 end of the year, we're expecting about $150,000 per Bitcoin, but already an $800,000 Bitcoin at somewhere next year. So that would still be this cycle, then have about a 70% or so correction all the way back to 300K over the next few years, and then slowly picking it back up. I mean, from some perspectives, it makes a lot of sense because the back end, like for example, the US national debt, it's breaking highs. It's also BS that if that's going up, Bitcoin can go up. And there's actually kind of a little funny post that I had. This chart, if you're looking at it, you'd think it's some sort of meme coin, some degenerate thing that people make crazy sums of money on, but all of a sudden there was a rug pull. But then you look at it over on the left and think, hey, wait a minute, the price is actually not down as much. So, well, apparently this is a Microsoft. $200 billion wiped out in just mere seconds. It is crazy. 5% down in the after hours. Damn, son. Anyway, I could talk about that for a long time. We can make jokes, but let's quickly talk about the FOMC meeting that's going to be coming around over the next few hours. And Rover had a nice post. He said, this, charted in, is every single time we had an FOMC meeting, 4 to 5 times or something like that, the price went on a crazy pump spree pretty quickly afterwards. And I can definitely agree with that. So the first time, indeed, all the way back here just before March, we had a pretty crazy price increase. Then right here in March, I'd say it's mediocre, but in the next following, this is the daily chart, next following days, the price did go up by a pretty good amount, going from 59 something to what, 71? Something like that's also pretty crazy. Then right here, it marked the local bottom. And he actually said that it marked the local bottom everywhere. 1, 2, 3, it's been true for. The FOMC meeting here in June, it was not true for as the price only went down for the next weeks to come. But right now, we have ourselves yet another chance. And I mean, the odds have been pretty good. I mean, the odds have been pretty good thus far. Anyway, right now with this meeting and all the other upcoming factors of, indeed, the U.S. debt being so high, but also us being at the start of a new multi-month crazy super cycle. Matter of fact, I think actually about a year and a half. Wouldn't be too crazy for this one to also mark the bottom. Also, if you just remember what Trump said and everything's been going on quite recently, from any perspective, because of what we witnessed quite recently with all this negative price action, you know, with the last FOMC meeting, basically, it wouldn't be crazy to start going crazy up from here and start super cycling finally. Maybe I'm overexcited. You know, maybe my excitement here is too much and I should dial it down and get back into my cave because it's all just a ruse. You know, it's all... No. I don't even want to discuss that. I personally think I'm even too dimmed in. I personally think the bullish narrative that's spinning around right now is not even being accepted well enough. There are too many doubters still, and I don't think it makes sense because I think we right now are about to go for such a massive super cycle. Anyway, the next few hours are going to be really interesting because the FOMC meeting will decide whatever happens. The U.S. Federal Reserve is likely to view the balance of risks between controlling inflation and supporting employment as roughly equal. It is widely expected that they'll keep the interest rate steady at 5.25, 5.5. Since the last FOMC meeting in June, inflation data has shown some improvement, but overall economic activity has seen somewhat mixed. The Fed is likely to view the balance of risks between controlling inflation and supporting employment as roughly equal. And for the most part, I'd say that everybody agrees that this is just a start for another more important meeting to come over in September, because that's, again, the policymaker. That's when the shift most likely will really happen. But I personally think that this will be the beginning of the long-awaited reduction, or at least it could be. I mean, it's been... it's been steady for a while. Most likely will not change, but if it does, that will be a great mover for the markets. And if it doesn't happen now, we know what will happen next time, where again the markets will make a massive move, and at that point it is almost certain. Probability wise, you know, 3% for 5 to 5.25, but there's always open a dream, huh? Depending on what happens today, you also see the great shift over the next meeting's probabilities. But that's a discussion for a different day. Right now, just watch whatever's going to happen over the next few hours, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video tomorrow.